Hi, and welcome back to Studio Tamera, the mystical paintress. Yesterday, I found these gorgeous wild bee balm out in the garden. So I picked some and put them in a vase and set them in the window here. And the way that the light hit them was so exciting that even though I was heading over to my aunt's, I wanted to do a quick little plein air painting of them. And I love it. It's very loose and free and fast, and it has a lot of light. And so somebody on the Michigan Plein Air Painter site requested that I do a demo real quick to kind of show you how I get this watercolor almost effect from oil. So grab your brushes, grab a little palette, let's go. So working on this top secret little fairy painting. Ooh. So as you can see, this gorgeous little flower is just kissed with light. And that's really what I want to capture. So that's what we're at. I just have a little masonite panel that's been gessoed. I'm using one brush, a 4 filbert. This is just a Simply Simmons, I think, from Michael's. And a little turp. Gamsol, and then my palette. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to paint very quickly, is take some burnt umber, ultramarine blue, and a little gray. Let me get some gray. Hold on. This here is violet gray. I really like to use that. So I'm going to take a little violet gray, mix it into my dark here, and I'm just going to paint very quickly. I'm going to look at my subject, and then I'm going to trace an outline. That's fun. So the way that you get the watery kind of color is you just use a lot of, you really use a lot of Gamsol or odorless turp. You're thinner. That's how you do it. So this one may look a little different. The flowers are not quite as majestic, so that creates a nice conundrum for us. But let's see if we can just So my whole point of doing this was I really wanted to capture the fleeting beauty of this flower. And a little blue and brown, a little gray goes a long way with doing this. So drawing helps. If you know how to draw, then you can draw what you see. That's helpful too. Okay, so and then you want broken colors, so I keep going in and grabbing. I just grabbed a little yellow ochre. See, that's how I get that real loose look color. Go back in the darks. I want to really nail this top here. So you just, there's no secret, there's no, magic trick. You just use a lot of turp and water down your colors. That's why I love oil. It's so versatile. You can make it look like a thick oil painting. You can make it look like watercolor. You can master all kinds of different techniques. And I'm just now getting into flowers. I really like capturing. Okay, so like here's the outline of her, and then, or him, and then the leaves here. Just gotta look again. The leaf kind of does this. This is the outline of it, right? And we want, isn't this fun? This is so fun. We want a little background color, not too much. Pick up your blues and browns again with a little gray. Okay. Now behind her, or him, is another flower here. Let's see. This one's a little crazier. The background colors don't really matter. If you have the values right, you can really use any color, but my point is I just really want to suggest things. So see how I'm doing this? Just real light brush, real watered down with terp, and practice. I mean, you gotta paint a lot to get used to any medium or any brush, or you know, the more you use it, the more you'll be used to it. So this one also has a crazy leaf. Bergamot is a wonderful herb. It's also known as Minarda and bee balm. Minarda was the doctor or healer who it's named after. It's called bee balm because if you get stung by a bee, you can break up some of the leaves and flowers, put it on the bee sting, and it'll instantly make the bump go down and feel better. And it's also bergamot. After the Boston Tea Party, that's what they drank, was bee balm. It's like an Earl Grey tea, so it was an alternative to the black tea that got thrown overboard in the story. So, all right. So we have this now. I'm just holding this little board because I want you to be able to kind of see what I'm doing, but so I just added a little purple there. Not sure you could see that. And then sometimes if things feel too heavy and dark, I'll take a rag and just wipe it. And that'll also give that watercolor kind of illusion in the background. You can do that. See how right away you've got this softer kind of look? It's more artsy. So there's that. Okay. And really just kind of, you know, trying to get some darks in here and some lights, and kind of negative painting the background around the flowers. So probably gonna wipe some of that blue off. There's my kitty. Hi, Gitan. So different variations of dark and light also will kind of make it look alive. You know, things aren't always solid the way people paint them. So there, so I'm pretty happy with this for a background. For now, I've used very little color. I'm happy with that as the background. Now we're gonna paint the flowers. We're gonna use this gesso underpainting white color, part of our highlights. Let's look at the flower. Beautiful. So use a clean brush dipped in turp to clean things up if you want to. If you see a little spot there you don't like, or you want to bring something out, it's another secret. So now I just mixed some purple and white. And I'm going to put in a little purple. I don't want to cover all my white background here. So you notice I'm just doing very little. And then it does get a little darker. Whoop, this is hard to paint and talk, and sometimes when I do these real fast and free, they turn out great and there's no talking involved. Okay, so here's a little darker. You do need a little in here and there. Okay. You know what? I think I'm going to get a board to hold this up so it's still. I wanted to mention my book real fast, Plein Air Painting, Tips and Tales. It's available on Amazon. If you don't have it, I have a lot of tips and fun stories, and it might be something you enjoy. Okay. Let's see if we can add a little alizarin, just a little. I see very little in here. That's too much. Very little. There's a little in this one too. Okay. Now we have a little bit of this, like a lavender blue kind of color. Gonna add some white, little cobalt to my little lavender mix here, and I'll make it a little colder. Okay. Now we need to get some of these flowers in here too. Let's see. This comes right to here. So the secret, folks were asking me what's the secret to making it look like watercolor. Just using a lot of, just watering it down with your turp or whatever you're using. Mineral spirits. making it really, really watery, watered down, and like not thin. Would be very thin paint. And then in a couple spots you want to make a little thicker. For effect, you could do that too. But try to keep it as thin as you can at first, because now somebody asked me what happens if you paint too much. So what you can do is just take your brush, this end of it, take a rag like this, and you can always lift it off. See? You can always do that. Or get one of these crazy tools, one of these eraser kind of tools. These work too. You just go in and do that. Again, my favorite thing to do is a plain brush with turp on it, and just, to me, that lifts the oil paint the best. But hopefully you don't put too much and you don't have to lift it. Okay, so now what we need to do is the center of the flower. So for the center of the flower, it's got a dark green, and I really just mixed like Viridian, cobalt blue, and brown, and then I put gray to muddle it down some, and then I added a little more green, maybe some sap green, to get a dark murky mix. If you missed that, rewind it, listen to it again. If it's too dark, add a little yellow. Not too much though, just a little. And you just squint and look at it. Add a little more brown if you want to. Don't overdo the brown though. The center of these is really dark green. There is a little bit of a sienna color in there, but it's very little. So and broken little brush strokes. Touch, touch, tap, 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 real light. Not sure if you guys can see exactly how light I'm doing this, but it's pretty light. Put a little more dark in there, a little brown and blue. Also, the other one next to it has some dark, okay? Wash your brush off real good, wipe it with rags. I prefer old towels, but isn't this fun? This is so much fun. Whee! Okay, next I'm gonna put some light green. So I'm gonna use some Cad Yellow Light and White and make this crazy light highlight here that I see. Actually, you don't want it yellow, so I'm gonna use even more white and just put this crazy highlight and barely touch it. I know it's hard to see from far away. Let me bring you in on this. So there's the highlight. Now I need a middle color green. So I'm going to mix some light with my dark pile for this little getting more toward the light here kind of cone, right? The magic really is in the subtleties. So All right, and then this leaf below, just gonna suggest it real quick with just a little, I got a little sap green here, I got a little, see how I'm just suggesting it? I'm not drawing it in, I'm not painting it in, I'm just suggesting it in there. Leaving a little of the background to show through. A little bit of dark. When I look up here, I see a little dark, so I'm going to put a little dark. Dark just means adding blues or browns to the greens to make them a value darker, a shade darker. If that doesn't work, you can always add purple, but purple will make it real dark real fast. Practice your color mixing, and that way you'll have a much easier time just instinctively kind of knowing what to put in. And just do little spots. Okay, we're getting there. So I just mix a little sap green and a little cad yellow light, roll it around. It might be too bright, so I'm going to add a little Naples. We'll see what's going to happen. But these leaves, I just want to suggest them. So, okay. See, the light is also on them. So I don't want to overdo it. I'm looking at my subject, Anywhere I see this real dark green, trying not to have real hard edges too. Add a little light to the leaves. Look like they're dancing, don't they? All right, the stems, I am going to put a little bit of the darker green in the stem. I'm just going to suggest it. You observe the stems, they have like a lavender. Green with red, you get gray. So I just want a little bit of alizarin for those stems. A little bit. I don't want to overdo it. See that? It suggests, oh, there might be a little bit of that alizarin in that stem. But it's not too much. The next step is just refining, really. I mean, you're very close to done at this point. You want to just look at the flower. There is a dark, yep, that is way too dark, but that's okay because I am just gauging this. Let's see. Very little, very little. You can overdo this super quickly. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want it all the same color. Use broken color. Remember, the darker the color is next to it, the lighter it will look. Any leaves that look really hairy, big, out of place, this is a good time to refine them. I I use the same brush you're noticing. And I just constantly look at the reference and look at the flower. Where does it not look the same? Okay, this one back here. Be very careful not to get mud, which can happen very quickly. Okay. So I'm happy with this, really. I'm starting to feel like this is getting close to being done. I want to get rid of any really bad areas that pull your eye away. May need just a little more green here. Okay. So really, I mean, in the spirit of keeping this extremely loose and free and happy, I don't want to overwork it. So I kind of like how it looks now. I'm going to put a few little light green highlights in here just because it's nature. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so I'm done. I'm just gonna stop. I love how these turned out. All of my paintings that I do in these videos are available in my Etsy shop. If you go to Etsy and you type in StudioTamera, they should come right up, unless they're sold. Have a great day. There we have it. Easy peasy little bergamot flowers that go. Ooh. Yes. Learn about these. Go out, forage them. If you live in Michigan, they're wild right now, all over in the ditches. You might even want to kidnap one and take it home, but make sure you leave enough so it can come back. Or you can do the red wild bergamot. I've done those. I have a video on those as well. This is a very fun little impressionistic, abstract bee balm painting. Some of the fun is even learning about the flowers. So, yeah, I'm happy with it. I like it. So, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you to all my subscribers and Patreon followers. And if you have not already subscribed, please do it now. It helps my channel, and hit that like button. All right, have a great day. Keep smiling. Be happy. Do it. See you next time.